Both Israel and Hamas have fulfilled their commitments on day one of the Gaza ceasefire deal. 3 Israeli hostages taken captive by Hamas in the October 7th terror attacks have been freed in return for dozens of Palestinians held in Israeli jails. Meanwhile, aid deliveries to Gaza are being stepped up as tens of thousands of Gazans return to cities devastated by 15 months of war.
Hundreds of people gathered in the occupied West Bank to welcome the release of Palestinian prisoners, most of them women and minors. Among the released prisoners is 62-year-old Khalida Jarrar. The Palestinian activist leader has been jailed multiple times over the last 3 decades. Most recently in December 2023, she remained in administrative detention until Sunday night.
It's hard. Firstly, the feeling of freedom, and we thank everybody for this freedom. And on the other side, the pain of losing a large number of martyrs. This is the dual feeling that we have. The situation in the prison is very difficult, and we wish freedom for all the male and female prisoners.
Families broke down as they met their loved ones.
Our freedom is incomplete. We want mercy for the martyrs. Our freedom will not be complete until the reconstruction of Gaza and life returns. The people of Gaza are strong and steadfast.
And in Israel, tear-filled reunions as Hamas freed 3 women hostages after 15 months in captivity. Amelie Damari, Doron Steinbrecher, and Romy Gonen finally unite with their families.
Super excitement. I was able to touch her for a few seconds and to hear her voice saying, I love you. And I managed to tell her how much I love her and hold her hand for a few seconds and to see she's okay. And there's no words to describe what I'm feeling right now.
The next release of hostages and prisoners is scheduled for Saturday, with grief-stricken people on both sides of the conflict desperate to see their loved ones return home.
DW's Konstantin Egger joins me now from Jerusalem with more. Konstantin, 3 Israeli hostages and 90 Palestinian prisoners are now free, but this is just the first step. What happens next in this ceasefire agreement?
Yes, indeed, Terry. It is a first step in the first stage of the deal between Israel and Hamas. As far as hostages are concerned, there are 30 plus more that are supposed to be set free by Hamas, and there were all in all before the deal there were all in all more than 700 Palestinian prisoners that were also agreed to be freed. So this is going to be a process during this first stage of the ceasefire, and at the same time there's an issue of the Israeli troops withdrawing to prearranged positions, which is happening. And I think that the issue of hostages and prisoners in Palestinian areas, of course, is extremely sensitive, and this is what basically attracts attention of the public, if you wish, on both sides of the Israel-Gaza border.
And it should also be pointed out that the guns are now silent. We've got a cessation of hostilities, as it were. After this first day of the ceasefire agreement, how is it holding up? Do the two sides seem fully committed to it, Konstantin?
Well, it seems that it's been holding for this day, more or less, and it seems that two sides are indeed so far committed to fulfilling the schedule and keeping the guns silent, as you rightly said. There was a statement from the Prime Minister's office, Prime Minister of Israel's office, about 2 days ago, when they said that if the deal is agreed, that was at the time when the deal was not yet agreed by the cabinet, the Israeli government promises to stick by all the schedules, of course, if the other side does. So basically, so far, it's been going on okay.
Now, the ceasefire may be holding, but some in Israel, also in the government, still oppose the deal. How much of a threat is this to Netanyahu's government and the future of the agreement?
Well, that's a big question, political question in Israel, because as we know, the three ministers from one of the far-right parties that were in coalition with Benjamin Netanyahu's Likud party left over the deal, in protest rather, of the deal. They said that this deal does not ensure the security of Israel long term, but one remaining and very important Minister of Finance, Bezalel Smotrich, who is heading another party, he gave an interview yesterday to the Israeli army radio saying that what the government should do is actually occupy Gaza and have a military administration installed there. Only this will ensure the security of Israel. And he said that he expects the government to do that. So basically, it is another threat to Netanyahu. And while with the departure of the first bunch of ministers, if you wish, the first party, his majority in the Knesset, the Israeli parliament, still holds. With the departure of Mr. Smotrich and his party, we may be facing a real government crisis, possibly either a minority government or new elections in Israel. So yes, indeed, this is an extremely sensitive issue.
Well, as Netanyahu struggles to keep his government together, Gazans desperately need humanitarian aid. The deal foresees some 600 trucks, I understand, Konstantin, delivering that aid to Gaza every day. Is that working out, and will that be enough aid?
It was working out, but until today and until the moment I went on air, trucks do arrive. But of course, the scale, at least in the UN assessment, is huge. The UN says that the urgent, basically, necessities, they amount to about $4 billion, and in December the UN, its partners, launched an appeal to gather this sum, to pull together this sum. All in all, it's more than $6 billion. And another figure from the UN, about 180,000 building structures in Gaza are destroyed or damaged. So there is a big issue of homelessness there. So I would say the task has been assessed, but it's absolutely huge. And plus, in December, there were instances when looters attacked these convoys and basically robbed them. So it is also an issue of security for the UN personnel, for those volunteers that disperse the aid. The task is absolutely mammoth, Terry. Really, if you look at it from the sidelines a bit, it's mammoth.
Konstantin, thank you very much. DW's Konstantin Eggert there in Jerusalem.